Hello, everyone, and welcome to part two of Irena's Poppies. Okay, in part one, we worked with this picture and we got this far with it. And it's kind of a long tutorial, but that's okay. We can do it in parts. And if I'm moving too fast or too slow for you, you can either speed up the recording or actually, whether you're watching it on TV or on a YouTube, you can actually halt it. Okay, move it forward, move it backward. You, my darlings, are in control. Okay, so today we're going to do some of this work. And I have just finished art class. So if you see me with paint all over me and say, hey, why does she have paint all over her already? It's because I have been painting already. Okay. So Joan Turner from Joan's Art Gallery of Haverhill. And I'm also the resident artist at the DCOA, which is the Drake Council on Aging. And we are doing some June tutorials for you. So this is actually, I think it's going to be shown first on G8 TV, which is Drake Access TV. And then we're going to do another one, which is a rock painting, which is always fun. And remember, you can pick up DCOA packs at the Drake Council on Aging. I believe you must call them first, and they have a limited number, obviously. So you want to make sure that they do have them there and that you can go and get one. Okay. So there's paints in there, canvases, all kinds of good stuff. Okay. So again, a reminder that you need, with every project that we do, you probably need a large, medium, small brush. Okay. Because we have already done the large brush work on here, I'm going to say the smaller and the medium here as well. Right, you might want to have a pencil handy. If you want to look at your handout and maybe give yourself some guidelines so that you can kind of match up the stems with the blooms, which is always a good idea to have them look like they're connected. So we've already used like reds and oranges and so on and so forth. For the stem work, we're going to use dark green. Okay, really dark green. If you don't have dark green, do not worry about it. No matter what color green you have, you can always darken it by putting brown or black into it. Okay, and whenever we do any art project, I tell people always kind of have a black and a white nearby because sometimes you want to lighten or highlight, and sometimes you want to dust or gray something. Okay, so because we're going to be doing stem work here today, we're going to do some dark greens, maybe put some browns in there, some yellow, okay, some yellow for some highlight. All right, so for the most part, green, brown, yellow, all right, are the three basic colors. And like I said, you can have some white and some black nearby in order to do some highlighted areas. Okay, so without further ado, let us finish this awesome piece. And I think I mentioned that my very good girlfriend, we call her sister from another mister because she's extremely cool. And we got married on Memorial Day weekend, not this past one, but in the past. And poppies were her flowers for her wedding. And I've never made her, I think, probably a picture just geared towards her alone. So I'm hoping that this one comes out really good. I picked this especially for her. And so I call them Irena's Poppies. Okay. So get your beverage of choice. You're going to need water, okay, paper towels, and probably quite a few, okay, paper towels. If in fact you are not using a DCOA pack, but you're using your own art supplies and whatnot, you want to have a still of this or a quick snapshot. Okay, only because it's good to kind of have brushes because some of these stems are on the thin side, some of them are a little bit thicker, but so the smaller brushes are going to work the best. So I am going to find my smaller brushes. Ah, David, here they are, here they are. Okay, so I'm using, you could use a medium square head brush or a small square head brush, and then you'll want to use a round headed brush, and then your smallest detail brush. Okay, you're going to need a palette for using paper plates. Okay. So as I say, and I'm going to try to find the best vantage point because obviously it's easier for me to paint this way. So you will want to be this way. Ta-da! Okay, so I'm going to try really hard to make sure I stay in camera. All right, so palette, again, dark green if you have it. If you don't have dark green, regular green with some brown in it will work just fine. Okay. So I didn't put whole bunches of green out here. Acrylic paints have a tendency to dry a little bit on the inside. So unless you're actually mixing the paint, and we may mix some brown in with your black. Okay, I probably want less rather than more. Okay, so there's my green, there's my brown. I'm gonna put some yellow out. It's nice to have some yellow highlight, right? And some of your greens is kind of pretty. And I also see a little bit of white highlight. And this middle part of the spell, way up here, it actually has some yellow, in there as well. Okay, so let's put out some white. And I'm going to put out too much white. Probably not going to need too much. If we need more, we can put it out. Gonna put a little black out. And again, just a little black because black is a pretty strong color. So chances are, even if you need to add it to something, you probably don't need a lot of it. Okay, so let's put the yellow out. And this yellow feels like it's pretty empty here. So maybe I'm going to squeeze out whatever's left in here. Oh, there's more than I thought because I was actually going to say I'm going to throw it away. But there might be an extra squish left in here. And God knows I need every drop of paint. Okay, so I have a little bit of black, I have a little bit of white, more yellow than I probably need, brown and green. Okay, this brown is extremely thick. So any paint that you have that might be a little bit too thick, you can mix some medium in it if you have like your own art supplies. If in fact you don't, you can just, acrylic paints are water-based, so you can add a little bit of water in here to thin it out, but be careful not to add too much water because you don't want to make it translucent, okay? So if you haven't already, give yourself some guidelines, all right? And by guidelines, like I said, I just got a pencil and, I know that this stem is connected to this bloom. So I'm kind of just looking for directions here and doing this. And I do have some green here, but I want to bring this stem down this way. So in the background of this, and let me see if I can actually get you to see it, there's some very light, yellowy, brownish greenery in there. It's kind of like faded off into the background. So I thought it would be cool to try and put some of that in. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to take my square head brush, and I'm going to grab a little bit of this yellow. Okay. And I want it to be extremely pale. So I'm going to mix white in there as well. And just a dab of brown because I want it to really fade into the background there. Okay. So let me take a little bit more white. Okay, so you can see I have a really pale, pale yellow. Maybe I'll put just a dab of green in there. Oh, okay, I like that. A little bit brown, so it's not too bright, because definitely want to keep it background. A bit more white. So when you're mixing colors and you're watching me mix these colors, you don't have to get it exactly like Jones. All right. You have to get it exactly the way you like it, is what the real goal is here. Okay, so my goal here is to have a very faded kind of yellowy color in here. And then to go ahead, and I'm going to use my small detail brush, and I'm going to put in some background. Let me see, I'm going to look at this picture over here. I'm going to put in a little bit of background. Can you see that? Maybe you cannot. Oh, maybe you can. Yes, yes. Okay, so this, I'm going to put this right here. And I'm actually going to do a little bit of leaf work here. And I want it to look like it's coming out from behind. All right, that flower, that bloom. Okay, and then I'm going to take this, the bigger brush now, and just kind of just give it a little bit more girth, if you will. Okay, so I'm going to just pull that out a little bit. Can you see what I've done here? So it's very subtle. It's a very subtle way to do a background, and I'm really kind of liking it. So I might put in some more. All right, so I'm going to put one over here that you can barely see, and again, it's definitely background. Okay, so they're hardly noticeable, and that's what really attracted me. Like, oh, they're so subliminal here in the background. All right, so if in fact you do not want any in yours, then do not put them in, because you know what I'm going to say, you are the creator. Okay, so I'm going to put some in because I like them. I like the idea of them. Okay, I'm going to put in just a teensy bit more yellow in here. Okay, I'm going to put another one like way down here, way down here. And these are so easy to do. All I'm doing is making like a curvy line, and I do want it to kind of come off the edge on this one anyway. Then I'm just pulling the paint out. Okay, this is fun, easy, and kind of pretty. And it's pretty. It's a nice one. Makes a nice background. And they're very subliminal. I did like a double take when I was looking at the picture. I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Okay, so put in as many or as few as you like. And I'm kind of not worrying about, if I go over my guidelines or not, because they're definitely in the background. And remember, the background always goes on first. Okay, so whatever I put in here, if I go over it with foreground, it's absolutely okay. Okay, so let's get a few more in here. There we go. Okay. Okay, just very subliminal, very okay. Can you see that right there? Just very light. Very light. Okay, just pulling up on these. And you can see that my brush strokes are very loose in here. Very loose. Okay, pulling up on here a little bit. Let's take this one, go a little bit lighter into here. Nice. Cool. Okay, I'm going to do one right here. Okay, come off the edge again, like so. And the only, I have them kind of all over the place. The only place I don't have them is kind of in the middle. So maybe let's put one in the middle, okay? And actually bring it all the way up here, right? So you can kind of see that line. I'm going to bring it all the way down here, like this, right? And then, again, just going to very lightly pull this up. Okay, I brought it all the way down here. So I'm going to pull it all the way down. Okay, so here's my stem going up, up, up. And again, you can barely see this, okay? Very subliminal, very much in the background, and extremely, extremely cool. Okay, just brush it on out there. Don't get them on your blooms. Don't get them on your blooms. It's okay if you cover some of the green stem work that you have on it, but don't get them on your blooms. We want to keep those babies. We did a lot of work on them. We want to keep them just the way they are. Okay. So let's, again, being careful of my bloom. My bloom. Okay. Let's get some more up here. Then I think I could be done because now I see it. I'm liking it. And part of doing a successful picture is to kind of know when it's done. All right. And you wouldn't think that that would be an issue, but I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh, gee, I really like that. So I keep working it, and sometimes you can overwork a piece. You're like, oh, okay, looks good up close. So it's very easy to overwork something. So if in fact you like it, kind of let it go. Just kind of remember also that once you do this, all right, you're going to be finished with it. Okay, so we're not going to go ahead, put in a background, and then try to put the background, then do the foreground, and then go back to the background and try and fix it. Because that will work, right? That never ever works. So we don't want to do that. We want to, whatever's going to go in the background, put it in the background now, okay? So just laying in a little bit more yellow here and there, just because I like it. Okay. So now you can see that I have a little bit of really subliminal leaf work going on over here. Okay. And if you look at it and you decide, oh, gee, that's a little bit darker than what I wanted it, but now's the time to lighten it up or do whatever it was that you wanted to do to it. Because as I say, we're going to begin to put, we're going to start putting in the top layer of this. I'm trying to tighten up my easel here, and I'm turning it the wrong way. So if my picture falls on the floor, you will know that's because I'm not mechanically inclined. Okay. So doing this, right? So again, any places you think it might be too dark, now is the time to fix those. Okay. So I'm thinking that looks mighty good to me. so now I'm ready to do the final part of this. Okay, and I'm going to take my drink, which I did do. I'm going to take my, I'm going to take my dark green and mix a little yellow into it. So let me get my paper towel and clean my brush. Okay, if your green is not as dark as this, take your green and put a little brown in it. Okay. If your green is dark like this, take it and add a little yellow to it. And the reason I say that is because we want different shades. We want different shades of green in here. So I'm going to mix and take some of this yellow, and put it like over here. And then I'm going to add some green to it. All right, and I'm mixing my green. And look at the difference between this green and this green. This is the green with all the yellow in it. All right, so I'm also going to take some of my white, and you'll notice that I did not clean off my brush, and I'm going to mix it in with the white, some of the white. I did leave a little bit of real white there. So now, look what I have, okay? I have a really light green that I can use to highlight. I have a medium green and a dark green, okay? So I'm going to use the medium green first, okay? And I'm going to use my small X brush in my medium green, and I'm going to make some stems. Okay, now let's see if I can get a little bit closer, so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So this stem way up here, I'm going to take it and bring it down here. Okay, so this is a medium green on this stem right here. Okay, so I'm going to dip in my medium green again, and I'm going to thicken that stem just a little bit, Let's see if I can make it more noticeable. I'm going to thicken it a bit at the top, okay, coming all the way here. Still using the medium green, I am coming down, down, down here, okay, continuing the stem down this way, and still with the medium green, bringing it down here. Okay, so my medium green is going all the way down the bottom of the canvas. Okay, so that's my medium green. Now I'm going to thicken the stem just a little bit. I thickened it too much. Let me wipe some of that off. All right, and it's because it's not leaning. Okay, so once I give myself a little more support here, okay, then I get this nice medium green stem. Okay, so now I have a stem that goes from the top of the canvas, okay, all the way to the bottom of the canvas. Now that I have that stem, I want to take my darkest green here, okay, my darkest green, and I want to work on the outside of this stem. Okay, so just on the outsides, because I want the inside to stay darker, darker. Okay. See that stem? All right, it's darker on the outside, lighter on the inside. So I'm going to stay with my dark green and work the outsides of these stems. Okay. So you can start to see that stem really well. So I'm actually supporting this hand with this hand. Okay, so I have this hand on the easel and I'm leaning my painting hand up against my easel hand. Okay, so all right, now I'm going to take my highlight green, which is this really light green that I created, and I'm going to go in the middle of this stem to make a little bit of a highlight. Right, so I'm going to have to take this off of here and put just a little bit of highlight. Okay, now look closely. Can you see that little bit of highlight going on over there? That is so cool. I can barely stand myself. All right, so supporting, put my hand here, and then putting this hand resting on top of the hand that's on the easel, and bringing a highlight down the middle of this stem. Okay, and you can go, if you have too much highlight, you can add some more medium or dark green to it. Remember that you're the creator, and what you say goes. I'm just here to give you some guidance and information, but you do whatever your heart desires, kids. Okay? All right, so let's do a bit of this. Right. Let me see, this stem comes from, where's this one going? There's a lot of stems on these babies. Okay, I am going to create a little bit of a leaf work here and a little bit there. Okay, so there is, I had dark green and light green on my brush. All right, so it's called double dipping, if you will. All right, you can double dip your brush. Okay, let's move this out of the way here. The computer is sitting on a roll of paper towels, which I am now having a problem with. Okay, so let's do, let me see, this one's coming down this way and all the way down here. I'm going to follow the same procedure. I am going to do the medium green first. Okay, and see my background leaf work here? I am going right through that background leaf work. Okay, and so the stem is probably a little bit thicker at the top than it is at the bottom. Okay, and this one's kind of coming down this way. Look at your, if in fact you have some guidelines, follow your guidelines down. And again, let me put this on here. I do a lot better when I can rest this on something here. So I just stuck my hand in the wet paint. Okay. So if in fact you do that, as long as it's still relatively wet, you probably can pull it off of there. So just be careful, try not to do that is probably the best way to handle that. So taking this and making some little leaves here. And what I did is I dipped in my light green and in my dark green and in my medium green. And then I just wiggled my brush like that. Okay. Wiggle, wiggle. And just to kind of get some leaf work going here, a little bit thicker there. So I'm actually going to continue to get some darker kind of color in here. All right, and again, we want to follow this down through, behind, not through. Okay, and come down here with it. So I have some really cool stems down here, right? So we're making bold stem kind of statements down here. And I'm going to, the same leaf fork I put up here, I'm going to put right there, right there. Okay. So again, dipping, light green, dark green, light green, dark green, medium green, right? And I'm going to take, and I actually do have some little guidelines here. So I must have known that that's exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, so connect these, bring them up and off of there. Okay, I am going to bring this out here like this. Okay, it's kind of not a really wrong way to do this. One of the, I have a student who loves doing plants and flowers because they're such a forgiving subject matter. You know, they don't have to be perfect. They like it better when they're not perfect, actually. Okay, so I'm doing all three of the greens here. And I actually have another big one right here. Okay. So this one I'm probably going to switch brushes for and do I'm going to use a medium square head brush. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to go into the light, into the medium, and the dark. Okay, and I'm going to kind of squiggle the brush the same way, but because I'm using a bigger brush, we have a bigger squiggle, which is very cool. Okay. So you'll find that the less controlled your squiggles are, the better they look. Okay, there's kind of one coming off of here like this. Okay, so let's squiggle away. Okay, I don't know if I can show the squiggle even a little bit better here. These are my squiggle leaves. Okay, so and that is this leaf over here. Okay, kind of coming off the side of my canvas. And again, you know, medium, dark, light paint, because when you start getting some of the lights in here, right, look what happens. It's like total magic. Isn't that awesome? Okay, so we're starting to have some really good stuff going on here, right? We have this this big guy coming right up over here. So I'm going to stay with my medium brush, and let me see, where are you? Okay, coming up here like this, up here like that, and then right over, it's kind of overlapping my green, right there. Okay, so again, okay, light, medium, dark. Okay, and this one has a lot of really cool, it looks almost like vegetation on there. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and darken this a little bit, going on up here, like so. But I'm actually going to put these little guys on here, which I probably need my smaller brush for. So switch back and forth if you need to. So these are actually smaller and I want a little bit of a little point on them. So I'm using the smaller detail brush. But as I get to bigger ones, I'm actually going to pick up a little bit of yellow in here and really just kind of pull on these. Okay, so I'm really happy here. I'm happy, pulling on these a little bit. Okay. So I actually started dipping in my yellow, in my light and green. So I added yellow to my repertoire here. Okay. So I'm going to get some dark green in here, like this, and some of the lighter here. And actually switch back to your detail brush and just put some brush strokes in here. And working with the smaller detail brush, actually you can get a teensy bit of a point on some of these, which is, and these these leaves look kind of ragged. So the smaller brush can help me make them look a little bit more raggy and not quite so neat. I guess that those leaves are a little bit more loose, ragged. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this one and do some smaller ones in here. Have one that comes up and over like this, which is really exciting. So let's do this there. Okay, we have one that kind of goes behind here. And again, if you're going behind your balloons, be careful. Be careful, my darlings. Okay. Have some coming here, which is going in front of that balloon. Have another one doing this. Okay, so the more you play with these, the happier you're going to be, because these have some really, really interesting kind of leaves on here. And you can, if you have one that's really, really dark, add some yellow or white to it. It's and or that really light like green that we're using. Okay, this is amazing. This is amazingly fun. It's what it is. Okay. Um, again, switch to your small brush and kind of make these a little bit more ragged if they're too neat. Okay, so this, pull those guys out. Okay, this, I have to tell you, this is just so much fun. I'm putting in so much more than what's actually on here just because I'm having fun. Like, okay. Okay. Okay, so this, I'm going to put a little bit of light in the middle, right? So you're definitely the creator here. Whatever makes your boat float, that's what's going on your picture. Okay, I have a little guy coming up here like this and this, coming all the way up here. And I'm going to guide my hand. Okay, this is coming here. And we are meeting a bud. This is leading to a bud here. Okay, so this bud can be a little bit thicker, where the bud is actually coming out. Okay, and I'm going to show you it a little bit closer up. Okay, see how we're really kind of enclosing that bud in the green. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of lighter green through here. And in through there. Okay, a little bit of the darker here, like this. And again, I'm kind of holding it up so you can see what's going on here. However, you know, stabilize your hand. Okay. Okay. So let's do this. Need a little bit of dark green here. Ta-da! A little bit of dark over here. The buds are pretty easy to do. We have another one, little one over here. But before that happens, I think I will bring more of this good stuff going on over here off of this one. Okay. Okay, so I'm using my smaller brush because this stem is thinner than some of the other stems we have going on here. Okay, I'm going to switch to my medium brush. Okay, and I'm going to go into the duck here. And there's another, there's a stem that comes over here, right? That's kind of way over here and behind this one. Okay, so I'm going to put that in there. And I'm going to switch to the smaller brush, like so. Okay, and give us some really bushy stuff going on over here, just because we want to. Okay, I'm going to put one behind here, like this. Okay, I did not want to go through that. All right, so let's do this. Okay, so we have some stragglers over here, which is cool. Right, I'm going to take some of the lighter green and put it near this bud because we don't want the bud to be the same color as this leaf work that's happening here. Okay. All right, so we have quite a bit going on over here now, which looks kind of cool. Okay, so we're kind of focusing on this side. So we have all this good stuff going here. We also have some leaves and leaf work coming up over here. Let's put it in. Let's put it in there. And again, just going to kind of squiggle this on here. Doing lots of squiggling with these leaves, liking the squiggles actually. Let's squiggle out a little fatter. Okay, I'm going to take my small brush. I am going to put it in my dark green. All right, and then I am going to do what I did before, and that is create these little uneven strokes here. Just because it just makes it look, realer, more realistic. Might be a better way to say that. Okay. There we go. So I'm actually holding this brush on its side a little bit and getting some squiggles in there and putting some random stems in here coming off the paper, this is definitely not paper. This is a canvas. Okay, so we have some random stems coming and going in through here, which is kind of cool. Okay. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to take some of the lighter green and some of the medium green in here, and actually get a little bit of, I can see some more stem work that kind of comes out this way here. Kind of comes and does one of these. And I'm going to take my my medium-sized brush here, and I'm going to kind of squiggle up these leaves here, just with these leaves. This really is just, I don't know how else to say it, just a squiggle. And the more uh, the more random looking you can make it, the better it looks. So here I have that. I'm going to take my small brush, and in the dark green, I'm going to give that midline. So we have a base here. But then I'm going to start again. I'm going to start pulling on that line. While the paint is still wet, you can really do a lot with it. Kind of pull it. And like I said, these are kind of raggedy looking leaves. Yeah, just kind of very cool. Very cool. So again, it has some of these really kind of random looking vines and whatnot coming up here. I can see in this background, and I'm going to take my medium brush and my medium green, and I'm going to put some right here. So at this point, even though I'm still looking at my handout for guidelines, your picture is probably going to look a little bit different than my picture, which is A-OK. And my picture is going to look a little bit different than the handout, which is A-OK. And I actually think they look better when you can see the personality of the person that's doing the picture. You want to see the artiste. Like, okay, what was that artist doing? Was she drinking hot cocoa or something else? Actually, she's not drinking either right now. In the first part of this, it was hot cocoa. This time it is peach tea, and not peach schnapps, but peach iced peach tea. And I have to tell you, Irena, the person that this picture is being used for, it has a friend named Rick who owns Rick's Chinese restaurant in Eureka. And every time we go there, he comes over and, oh, hi, Joni and Irena. And it's funny to even have a Chinese restaurant named Rick's. But that's the real name of it. It's Rick's Chinese restaurant. And so when we go in there, he comes over and he says hi because I mean is his friend and stuff. And he always brings us over peach schnapps, right? And these brandy snifters. And I'm like, oh my God, I have never had peach schnapps before. And I wasn't sure I was going to like it because me and alcohol, it puts me to sleep. I am the most boring date, drunk, whatever you want to call me, but I just totally, booze just puts me to sleep. So typically I don't drink it. And so I said, no, yeah, not really. And blah, blah, blah. No, no, you try this, Judy. You try this. So of course you try it, and it was absolutely delicious. So now when I go into that restaurant, we have schnapps and Chinese food, and it's absolutely delicious. So thank you, Rick, and thank you, Irina, for bringing me to Rick's. So I'm actually putting in, like I said, a little bit, probably more greenery than is here in the handout, but let your picture, it might be okay. Let your picture show what you like and your idea of what's going on here. Okay, so I have my little, I have my little bud, and I'm going to give it just a little bit of highlight up here. Okay, by using my lightest green. Okay, so I'll show you up close. I put a little bit of light on there. Okay, I have just put in probably a lot more random kind of stems and branches. Okay, going over here, and maybe I'll even add a little bit more to this one. Okay, and again, they're kind of raggedy. Okay, they're kind of raggedy. So these I'm not even going to give a lot of detail to. I'm just going to kind of let them be subliminal and kind of fading away a little bit into the background. I'm kind of liking it. That's pretty cool. So let us leave that right there. Okay. Right. So I have, like I said, I made some guidelines here. So I do have more kind of things coming off of this stem. So I'm thinking put them in. Okay. So putting them in, and then while the paint is still wet, pull them out. Pull these babies and make them, like I said, a little bit of the raggedy side. And that's, believe it or not, that looks realistic. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of that in here, like this, and a little bit in front. Putting them one in front of the other gives you some really nice depth. Okay, so that makes this leaf in front of this bud. Okay, while the paint is still wet, I'm going to pull it out and give it a little bit of a raggy look. Same thing here. Okay, and we can pull out these little guys over here. Now I am just like having too much fun here. Okay, I made that stop. No, I'm going to do the other side. You wait and see. I can do it. Okay, I'm going to bring out one right over there. I'm going to bring out one from over here, from behind here. And it kind of looks like it's still on this stem. Okay. Let's do a couple of small little guys over here. All right. So now we have this nice full area here, even more full than the handout. But I have to say, I'm happy at myself. I do like it. Okay. So let's go and do the other side. Okay. So again, other side, medium, light. Okay. And let's pull some of these out. And here is a stem that comes out this way. There is another one. This is a leaf that comes off this mid one here, like that. This one definitely we need a stem coming from this big guy over here. So let's do that. Okay, and we can put a little bit of a leafy thing coming off of here. Okay, this is another bud over here. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's do that bud. Okay. This bud comes down here, and don't let it get into your flower. Thank you. Comes down here. We have this guy comes this way, down here, and another one over here. All right, let's put some cool stuff going on here, like this. Right, so we are so getting there. All right, so this one, let's give us some leaf work here. Have some of this coming down over here. Okay, good. Let's do a little bit here, just a tad. All right. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. So I'm switching to my smaller brush now and doing medium and darker greens, and actually going to pull some of this out. And like I said, it's a little bit easier to make them raggy looking when they're wet. So now's the time to do this. Okay, so I'm going to take this one here, and it's such a solid green color. So I'm going to go and put some darker greens in here, and some of my light green. Because remember, when we first started, we said, okay, we need a number of different shades of green here. And this is why. We don't want boring flowers. We do not want boring flowers. Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to put some down here. And again, because I'm not holding it, we're getting kind of, okay. And if I do the 3 different kinds of green on one brush stroke, okay, then I almost don't have to put any highlight on it. It's highlighting itself because of all the different kinds of greens that are on there. Okay, so let's see. There we go. There it goes. If first you don't succeed, try again. That's the way the saying goes. And there's a reason it goes that way, right? Okay. So I am going to go into my 3 colors once again and put some bigger little guys out here like this and like this. So I'm going to go with a little bit of darker here and do this and this. And again, while those are wet, I'm going to use my small brush and make them a little bit more raggy taggy. Okay. This guy needs a little highlight going on over here. So let's do that. Let's give him a little highlight. Okay, so these look very cool when they're very raggy looking here. Okay. So this little guy over here, probably, I think I gave, see, if I look at this and this, it does kind of throw it off a little. This is supposed to be behind you, not in front of it. So again, you know, if you make a mistake, fix it kind of when you see it. And I'm going to fix it by grabbing a cotton swab and getting the tip of the cotton swab with just water. And then I'm just going to kind of pull this off of here. If in fact it doesn't pull off of there, don't panic, okay? Because you can always go over it with red. But I am going to pull as much off as I can, okay? So that I can get that in the back. I just, you know, if you get carried away, which is totally okay, it's all right to get carried away. Right. So it's so exciting, but it's good to see also that these things can be worked with, they can be fixed. Okay. So I'm going to pick up any kind of extra here, and when that dries out a little bit more, I'll give a bit more of the coral color on there, and we will work on that baby. Okay. So continuing here. Okay, I'm going to take the small brush once again, light, medium, and dark. Okay, bring some stem work off of our bud stem. Okay, wiggle, wiggle, get this stuff on here. Love it, love it. Okay, see what that looks like? I'm telling you, this I have to really be thankful because when I first looked at this, I'm like, well, this may not be a good, for folks who have not painted before, it might not be the best project. And I decided, you know what, Joni, let's just go ahead and do it. And we'll just do it in 2 parts. So no one's rushing, and, especially me, because, you allow so much time to kind of get things done, and, you can go over that time and so on and so forth. However, I decided we're just going to go do this. And if it takes 2 parts, it takes 2 parts. And sure enough, rather than go ahead and rush it, I did decide, let's do it in 2 parts. Okay, we kind of have one that's coming off of here like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that in while we're in the mood to do that. Okay, gonna bring another one in over here maybe. Right, we have this little guy coming up this way, and I'm going to do a little bit of leaf work here. Okay, and when I tell you I'm just squiggling this brush, I totally am just squiggling the brush. Okay, so while it is still wet, I'm going to take light and dark and give us some contrast. And again, we want to kind of make this look raggedy a little bit. And I don't know what else to call these except raggedy leaves. They do look like raggy to me. Okay. Poppy leaves. Poppy leaves. Irena probably knows what they're called. Besides being my very good friend, she's also a Boma brain. The first time I said that to her, she's like, "What do you mean a bovine brain? What does that mean? What does that mean?" And I said, "No, I mean a Boma brain." And for those of you who are young enough or old enough, Boma was actually a company many years ago that made like calculators and instruments like that. And if you were a Boma brain, you're just very smart. So my friend is very smart for sure. So I was just joking around. I called her a Boma brain. What does that mean? Oh, you're calling me a bovine brain? I said, no, absolutely not, my dear. So besides being my very good friend, my very smart friend, so whenever I have bookkeeping questions or actually any kind of questions that, I'll say to her, well, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And she always has a good answer. Or, the cool thing is if she doesn't have an answer, she'll say, oh, gee, I'm not really sure. And then before you know it, she'll call you back and say, I did a little bit of research online, and this is what I found. Oh, really? Thank you. So, she really is a Boma brain. So, hopefully, she won't see this and say, "Hey, what were you saying about me?" She's very, very modest. Okay, so totally loving this. Love it. Okay, let's do one across here. I actually have some leaf work going up this way as well. Here, let's put them all in. Okay, and again, pick up if you have a color on there, a shade of green on there, try a different shade and, you know, make it, again, do that little raggedy thing that's going on here. Okay, and the way that I decide is if I have a dark green, I use a light green for contrast. And as far as a light source goes here, it's kind of hard to assume a light source because, or leaves are kind of going every which way. But if I had to assume a light source, I would say head on because most of the highlights are kind of head on in this picture. So even though I probably wouldn't assume any, I would say probably head on if I had to, if someone actually said, no, no, I need to know what the light source is, where the light source is. Okay, try head on. Okay, so all these little good guys here, here, behind here, this. Okay, lots of fun stuff going on over here. All right, so we are like totally getting there. This picture. This is way fun. Right? So again, I'm going to use my 3 different shades here, and I'm going to put some random little branches in here. Okay, the same way I did on the other side. Okay, and off of here like this. All right, so I'm going to switch now to the bigger brush and put some of these random little some of them are just little tiny shoots or offshoots that are here, and then some of them are actually quite big. So I'm just going with whatever feels right. Okay, and some are going to be in front, some are going to be behind. Okay, so, and again, while they are wet is the time to go ahead and put in these strokes. They're side strokes, but they're really pulling on the wet paint. And you can do, again, do all 3. Do the medium, the light, the dark. Okay. And when you do that, what you get is like it almost creates its own highlights, because what ends up happening is you're pulling the paint and there's some white paint on the brush or some light green paint on the brush and some dark. And so when you're pressing down on the brush, it pulls all the colors. Okay, so that is pretty dang cool. So I am going to take my small brush, showing my medium and my 3 colors, and I actually would love to just get some more little stem work kind of in this middle here. Middle of, let's see, this guy up here. Okay, a little bit of stem work here. Very light. Okay, we want some that's going up past here and through here, down here. Okay, and I don't want to put too much more in here. Really, really filling up these spaces now. Okay, so again, they kind of have that raggy look to them. So let's put that in there. Let's put that in there. And not all of them are really big. When I'm looking at some of these little raggy leaf work things, some of them are on the small side. So let that be okay too. They don't all have to be these big, huge things here. Okay, so I'm going to put some in right here like this, and maybe bring this stem down here like that. Get a little bit of dark green in there. Okay, so hopefully we didn't lose anyone with all of this stem work, because when it comes right down to it, I'm just kind of putting them wherever I want them. Okay, so a little bit. This is very light here. I'm going to put just a little dab of dark green. You see? Okay, I'm going to put a little bit in through here and here like this. I'm going to pull that there. Okay, I was going to say, gee, I think we could be done, but we forgot to finish this bud. All right, here's my bud, and it's just looks like a little bit of a strawberry hanging there. So we want to take this and do kind of the same thing that we did with the other one. We want to kind of get this green around here and encapsulate it a little bit. Get her down there. Okay, so this is what I did to it. All right, and even though not in the picture, I'll give it a little bit of leaf work because we can. We are the creator. Okay. All right, so that's it. Maybe a little bit more definition down here, although I like how kind of subliminal it is back there. Let's do this. Right. So take a good look at your picture and see if there's anything that you want to add to it. Certainly. The only other thing I think I would do is put in this kind of yellowy gold area here, and it's kind of a whitish, goldish color here. So I think I'm gonna put it right there, right there. Let's see. I'm gonna go a little whiter and put it here like this, like this. Okay. How cool is that? Okay. So I am going to pick up a little bit of the yellow and put some yellow in there, because as I'm looking at the handout and at my own picture, this white looks almost too bright until now. Okay. Yeah. Going to take a teensy bit of brown and drag some of it up into here like this. Okay, and show it to you right there. Okay. Now, take a look, take a look. I am so excited. I'm like totally loving this picture. Okay. So we are definitely going to call this a done picture for sure. And I'm going to let it dry really, really good. And then I'm going to put a varnish over to protect the paint. If in fact you have like a spray varnish, you can do that. If you don't have a spray varnish, you know what I found that works just as well as far as technique, really cheap hairspray, lacquer hairspray. So in my younger days, when funds were a little tighter, I would spray them with hairspray. Okay, and ahead and stay 6 inches away. Give it a light coat, let it dry, and then do it again. Okay, because I always kind of do things twice because what I find is that there's always a time you might miss a spot. God forbid we might miss a spot. We don't want to miss a spot. So I always do things twice, whether I'm varnishing, whether I'm spraying, no matter what it is. If I'm putting a coat on there, then I'm always going to put two just in case we miss a spot. So this is exciting. Irena, if you're listening, I hope you like it. And actually, I don't think she is yet because it's rather late at night. I have had like a super, super busy day, but I also wanted to have this ready. So she's probably in bed, but we'll surprise her and she'll be happy at us. Okay. Thank you so much. Remember, DCOA, Drake Council on Aging. Thank you, friends of the Drake Elderly, the Drake Cultural Council. Thank you, BATV, because Tara is our editor, and she makes me look better than I actually look. Like she's like, down the lighting in your eye. What do you know? It should be here. It should be there. So she fixes things a little bit. Sometimes if I say really goofy things, I'll say to her, can you just kind of edit that out? She goes, oh no, I like the goofy stuff, Joan. I'm like, can you take that? So she was really cool about editing them. And GHAA, like I said, Drake It is so cool. They allow us to share these with other groups and people who may still be stuck at home, even though things are beginning to open up a little bit and we have a little bit more freedom and so on and so forth. As far as pandemic type of issues going on, there's still quite a few people who are afraid. They're afraid to go out or they're afraid to do things because even vaccinated people I'm finding can still be a little bit reluctant. So don't be afraid. Trust a little bit. Keep yourself healthy as you can. Good food, exercise, and meditation. I was listening to a YouTube, and this is Doctor. He's talking about people in their advancing ages, how in order to be healthy at 80 and 90, being able to get up the stairs, tie your shoes, be able to play on the floor with your grandchildren. You have to be able to do those things at 60 and 70 if you want to be able to do them at 80 and 90. So he says the most important thing you can do for yourself is eat good food. Food that doesn't have additives, that's not genetically modified or prepackaged stuff, canned stuff. Eat good, clean food. Second thing is exercise, because once you give your body all that good, clean stuff to build the cells and bones and organs and arteries and all that good stuff, then you exercise it to, kind of help those muscles along. And he also says that every successful person that he knows meditates. Okay, so good food, exercise that bod, and meditate to keep yourself balanced and happy and healthy emotionally, and you're well on your way. So thank you to everyone who's involved. Ann Jones at the GHAA and Debbie Shirley, who actually post the work. Greater Haverhill Arts Association, Debbie Shirley, Ian Jones. Then at Billerica, we have a producer, is Bob Tholton. Tara is our editor. And of course, DATV. There's Dawn at DATV and Bethany, who's the director at Drake Council on Aging. And this whole project was actually her idea and her baby. So thank you, Bethany. I have been a fan of yours ever since way back when. I haven't changed that thought at all. I am Joan Turner of Joan's Art Gallery, Haverhill, Mass, and resident artiste at the Draker Council on Asia. One of the best parts of my day and my life. Okay, thank you all. Everyone, happy painting. And as my favorite brain on the planet says, be legendary. Bye, everyone. I'll see you next time.